Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Commander's Core studio. Welcome to the show. So, on today's episode, I've got some hidden gems for you, some underrated commanders that dominate with some great builds. So, first up, let's start our way from the bottom and work our way from the top when it comes to their ranks. And first up, we've got Massacre Girl, an incredibly amazing and flavorful commander, and one that can pack quite the punch with the right build. Rank 828 according to EDHREC with just 1,857 decks to its name. I'm pretty sure Deadpool got that in a day. Yeah, some of the most popular commanders out there have tens of thousands of decks. This one not so much, but I'm here to tell you why you should be building around this incredible commander. A 4/4 menacing human assassin for 5 mana in black. When Massacre Girl enters, each other creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn. Whenever a creature dies this turn, each creature other than Massacre Girl gets -1/-1 until end of turn. Basically, hey, that -1/-1 builds with more and more and more creatures getting taken out. A very flavorful thing, like Massacre Girl kind of building up steam, massacring a bunch of creatures, essentially. So, again, basically a board wipe on a body from the command zone on ETB, which, of course, we can easily use and abuse. Get this quite a few times throughout the game, and really take advantage of taking those creatures out in quite so many ways. So first up, when it comes to this kind of a commander, we can take advantage of the vast swath of Feign Death type effects. An instant for a single black mana. Basically, creature dies, comes back into play. Well, tapped in this case, so they counter on it. There's other variations of this as well. A lot of other instant speed, 1 mana or even 2 mana ones that work great with this commander. And so yeah, that's a small price to pay of our creature dying, but yeah, Massacre Girl can't take herself out, but we've got other ways to do that ourselves when our opponents aren't being as generous to take her out. So things like Village Rites or like a Viserys can be great. Village Rites is a great one. Instant for a single black mana. Sacrifice 1 creature, draw 2 cards. Very, very, very worth it in this scenario. And of course, we probably have some other creature fodder as well if we just need to draw some cards. But yeah, being able to sacrifice our commander freely so we can utilize those Feign Death type effects and get that ETB board wipe again and again and again. Our opponents will have a fun time rebuilding. Not so much. But we can actually help them with a card like Genesis Chamber, just outside of my $2 range usually, but I wanted to actually kind of bring this one up. $2.41 right now, artifact for 2. Whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield, if Genesis Chamber is untapped, the creature's controller creates a 1/1 mirror. Basically, everyone gets creatures. You're welcome. Yay! I'm going to utilize those creatures to take everything out. Again, the more small creatures that are on the board, the more likely it is that Massacre Girl can just wipe out every single creature on the board, essentially. So, yeah, by building up armies, we are actually tearing them down as well at the exact same time. And, of course, it gives us benefits when there's more creatures in play getting taken out with something like Shadows of the Past. Whenever a creature dies, scry 1. Notably, this does not specify, well, just our creatures. It doesn't specify non-token. So, yeah. Again, we have Massacre Girl coming to play. She wipes out like 20 creatures, and all of a sudden, it's kind of like ETB, tutor effect, like a mini tutor effect off the top of our library to get the best card, basically, out of our top 20 or so. So yeah, a great way to get a ton of card selection throughout the game. How about Rise the Dreadmarn, though? An incredible card to use in conjunction with our commander that can be a great finisher. I think we can foretell for just a single black mana, actually. Great text, 2/2, Black Zombie Berserker creature tokens, where X is the number of non-token creatures that died this turn. Again, this does not care whose creatures they were, if they were non-token creatures or not. Yeah, that counts, but you know what? It's still going to be a good amount of number, right? It's still going to be a ton of creatures. And of course, by filling our board with even more 2/2s, well, yeah, that can help us dominate the game, but also it can help us, if we're not taking our opponents right then and there, still have more things on the board for Massacre Girl to give -1/-1 to again build up that kill count for her. Speaking of that, though, turning things on its head, Dingus Staff, again, hey opponents, get a bunch of creatures in play, that's great. All of a sudden, yeah, no, we're going to punish you for that. Artifact for 4 mana, basically whenever any creature dies, Dingus Staff deals 2 damage to that creature's controller. Again, make sure that you utilize this properly when you need to, but yeah, wipe out your opponent's creatures and wipe them out as well. Umbilicus is a great way to, again, utilize our commander's ETB, artifact for 4. Beginning of each player's upkeep, basically you can pay 2 life or you have to bounce a permanent you control. So yeah, this is actually a good thing for us. Bounce your own commander, utilize its ETB. Again, your opponents might not have, those nice little benefits though. Conjurer's Closet, of course, a good way to utilize our ETB plenty of times throughout the game. Artifact for 5. Begin the end step, basically blink a creature. So again, if we need to, again, if our commander is in play and our opponents are finally building up their boards, now it's going to say, hey, how about not? How about let's just take them out again? Of course, if we've got other ETBs as well, like a Gary, Grey Merchant of Asphodel, gain a ton of life with that. Yeah, keep doing that again and again and again. Speaking of gaining things, though, Black Market, one of the coolest cards in this second, barely outside of my $2 range, but I want to bring it up just to make sure. Enchantment for 5 mana in total. Whenever a creature dies, you get a charge counter on it. You have your pre-combat main phase, add black to your mana pool for your charge counter on it. Yeah, that's an absurd amount of mana. Again, you've got a commander that is very good at wiping everything out, and this says, oh, okay, yeah, any creature dying, doesn't matter if it's a token or non-token, doesn't matter if it's my creature, opponent's creatures, I get a ton of mana, and this is just a giant mana source for myself. Sir Conrad the Grim, yeah, it's going to get wiped out at some point with Massacre Girl, but it's going to take a lot of opponents, well, life totals down with it. Whenever another creature dies or is put in a grave from anywhere other than the battlefield, or creature card leaves your graveyard, 1 damage to each opponent. So again, yes, it will get taken out, but creatures going here, there, or anywhere, essentially, it's going to be a big blowout effect to hit our opponents for a lot. Thrilling Encore, speaking of big blowout effects, hey, steal every creature, basically. Put on the battlefield, under your control, all creature cards in all graveyards that are put there for the battlefield this turn. Again, commander comes into play, whether through, like a Feign Death type effect or whatnot. Cool. Get that into play, wipe out all the creatures, and all of a sudden, they're all mine now. Every single one. And so are all the cards. Harvester of Souls. Whenever any non-token creature dies, we may draw a card. Any other, I should say, not this one. That being said, yeah, again, that's going to be a ton of creatures, a ton of card draw, and we're just going to have a great time with it. Infernal Genesis, speaking of a great time, hey, everyone, again, have more creatures. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, the player puts the top card of their library in their graveyard, mills 1 basically. Then they get X/1/1 minions based on the card's converted mana cost, mana value. Basically, again, everyone gets 1/1s. Yay! More ways for us to build up that -1/-1. Massacre Worm, a way to finish our opponents off as well, like Sir Conrad, but even more so. ETBs, it can also shrink down opponents' creatures, make them even more bite-sized for our commander, which is nice. -2/-2 on ETB. On top of that, whenever a creature opponent controls dies, they lose 2 life. This can be a great finisher. Speaking of which, finally, Singur the Dark Baron. Oh my goodness, I love this one in combination with Massacre Girl. Whenever any creature dies, 2 counters on this. That can be absolutely huge. Oh my goodness, so big. And of course, it kind of like survives our commander as well, which not many things can, because it just keeps gaining more counters, and it's going to get bigger than actually can get taken out. On top of that, though, it says whenever any player loses the game, you gain life equal to that player's life total as the turn began, which can be a substantial amount again when we have something like this in play that could become absolutely massive. It could just one-shot someone and gain us a ton of life. So again, Massacre Girl, a very unique commander, a very fun commander, and one that you can utilize in unexpected ways too, and it should be a lot more popular in my opinion than it is. It's quite the heavy hitter, quite the unique commander. Go pick it up and build around it right now, and if you are interested in any of these cards that I mentioned in this episode, check out that card list link in the description below. Moving up a few spots to rank 822 with 1,871 decks to its name, Cedric the Traitor King. Sometimes commanders aren't necessarily so popular because, well, like, okay, there was other better commanders or more exciting commanders, people would say, like, in that actual set, so they got overshadowed potentially. Or it's just because they've been around for such a long time that people kind of forget about it. It's like, oh, I'm over that. I forget about it. I'm not going to build around it. Let me tell you right now, Cedric the Traitor King, since it came out and was popular originally at the beginning and then fell off, here's the thing. It's got a lot more support now. It's got so many cool things that you can do with it that you didn't used to be able to do with it. A 5/5 zombie warrior for 6 mana in Grixis. Each creature card in your graveyard has Unearth for 2 and a black. And a reminder for that, it's not a mechanic that we see all that often. Return the card to play. It gains haste, remove it from the game at the end of the turn, or for leave play, Unearth only as a sorcery. Basically, get a creature temporarily, let's put that in quotes, back because, yeah, maybe not so temporary. We've got ways to maybe use and abuse that. That being said, here we go. Embalmer's Tools, a great way to say, you know what, 3 mana, that's still not all that much, especially for some giant creatures. Let's make it 2. Activate abilities of creature cards in your graveyard cost 1 less to activate. On top of that, you can tap zombies to mill. Cool, but yeah, more importantly, literally just save 1 mana every single time you unearth. That is absolutely huge. Next up, though, Teferi's Veil. This card is massive. This old, janky 43-cent card is massive for this commander. Enchant for 2 mana in blue. Whenever any creature you control attacks, it phases out at the end of combat. Again, Unearth is a very weird, janky type mechanic again, and so is phasing, and they work great together with this commander. Because again, when you unearth, it's like, okay, I get you in play. I wish I could keep you in play. Phasing lets you do that. Phasing says, hey, end of combat, all right, you swung with that creature because, again, it got haste. You swing with it, and all of a sudden you're like, hey, you phase out, which means it's there, but technically not there, kind of. Phasing, again, is a very weird thing. So it didn't leave play, but also it can't actually be removed at the end of the turn because it's also not there. So basically you get around that end step, oh, it has to leave and go away and exile forever. No, you get around that completely, and now you get to keep that creature permanently. So yeah, you get that massive discount on that creature and cheat it into play. Buried Alive, my goodness, this card is huge for this commander. Any kind of Entomb type effects, but this one especially. Sorcerer 3 mana, search live for 3 creature cards, put them into your graveyard, then shuffle. Basically, tutor for your 3 best creatures, get them right into your graveyard, and all of a sudden, again, you can utilize very easily the 3 mana, or even less, again, with some reductions, to get those creatures into play. Cemetery Tampering, another great way to get things in our graveyard, though. Hideaway 5, that's nice. Beginning of your upkeep, you may mill 3 cards. Then if there are 20 more cards in your graveyard, you may play the exile card paying its mana cost. Again, literally just mill 3 each turn can be a great way to get more and more and more resources into our graveyard, more creatures we can utilize. And of course, yeah, once we get to that 20, cool, free cast with the Hideaway 5. Next up, though, yeah, again, Embalmer Souls is great, but Converge of Dominion, slightly better. Artifact for 3, as long as you control your commander, activate abilities of cards in your graveyard cost 2 less to activate, can reduce less than 1. You also pay 3 and tap to mill 3 cards. Yeah, this is quite huge. Again, being able to reduce that cost down to just 1 mana, 1 singular mana to actually, again, unearth a creature, that is massive. Again, the amount of savings from like giant creatures, like, oh yeah, that giant Eldrazi in my graveyard, oh, I paid 1 mana to get it out, all of a sudden swing, have fun opponents. Frantic Search, plenty of great ways, of course, I already talked about, to entomb things in your graveyard. But of course, yeah, you've got a lot of great looting effects, a lot of great wheel effects as well in these colors. Draw 2, discard 2, untap 3 lands. This is an especially good one because it's free. Again, this is a free way to literally go, okay, let's draw down to some better cards, discard some, again, giant creatures that I don't want to cast, but I want to unearth. What's not to love about that? Flame Shadow Conjuring, again, just outside my $2 range, but I wanted to highlight this one too. Jam for 4 mana. Whenever a non-token creature enters battlefield under your control, you may pay a single red mana. If you do put a token on the battlefield, let's say a copy of that creature. Token gains haste. Exile begin next end step. Again, unearthing, we are not making them tokens, so yeah, they are just actually the cards themselves. You can just pay an extra 1 mana to get an additional copy of that, and of course, we've got plenty of great ETBs, LTBs that we care about when it comes to creatures that we want to get out. So getting an extra token copy of them and be able to swing with it, that's quite nice. Here we go, though. Becca Brute Chronologist, yet another amazing new way that we have to make this commander just work. 3/4 Ogre Wizard for 4 mana. Tap target player. Well, the player, I should say, whose turn it is may end the turn. It's going to be us. We want to end the turn. Again, as soon as that goes on the stack where those creatures are going to be exiled away, we're like, no. Because what we're going to do is end the turn, and when we do, we exile spells and abilities from the stack, which includes that trigger that's going to make those creatures, again, from the unearthing, go away at the end of the turn, exile at the end of the turn. So this says, you know what? No, that's not happening. This is over. This is done. River Kelpie, oh my goodness, the amount of card advantage we can get out of this 15-cent card is insane. Whenever it or another permanent enters the graveyard, from the graveyard, I should say, draw a card. Whenever a player casts a spell from your graveyard, draw a card. Yeah, we're going to get a ton of value out of this. It also has persistence, which is quite nice. But yeah, all those creatures coming out of our graveyard into play. Every single time we do so, we are drawing a card. This turns our commander's ability to a draw engine as well. Scourge Familiar, I absolutely love you. You are my favorite discard outlet of all time. Anytime I can find a deck that really works with this, I'm just very happy about it. A 3/2 Phyrexian Imp with flying for 5 mana, but it's well worth that. We're going to get that mana back and then some because we have discard a card, add a black mana. So yeah, being able to get those creatures in our graveyard, again, we talked about so many ways to do so. A free discard outlet or a plus discard outlet like this one is so good. Being able to discard that creature pays for the 1 mana that we need, essentially, and then we just pay either 2 mana, or again, if we have like that cost reduction, my goodness, basically freely, again, unearthing things or reduced cost unearthing is just so good. When it comes to some big creatures, though, Combustible Gearhawk, we have plenty of great targets. Again, this is a great one. 6/6, First Strike, Construct for 6 mana. Enters, target opponent's going to have us draw 3 cards. If they don't, we mill 3, which again is already good for us. And then that amount of mana value equals the damage to that opponent for not letting us have fun. Atali Primal Storm, yeah, just a great one to, even if you get 1 attack with, it can be game ending. Attack trigger, exile a top card of each player's library, cast them for free. What's not to love about that? Flare the Hatebound. This is gross. Whenever it or another creature enters the battlefield from your graveyard, it deals damage equal to its power to target creature or player. It also is undying, which is nice. But yeah, this is a great one to say, hey, you know what? Basically, Warstorm Surge on a creature. And speaking of which, Warstorm Surge. Yeah, obviously very good with this kind of a deck. Again, we've got big creatures that we basically cheat in the play from the graveyard. On ETB, they deal damage equal to their power to any target. So yeah, extra pain for our opponents on top of the attacks that we're going to have as well. Yeah, speaking of which, Delivering Primordial. We can take advantage of this ETB here, there, and everywhere. A 5/5 flyer for 7 mana, but again, you're never paying that. Enters the battlefield for each opponent. You may cast up to one target instant source card from that player's graveyard without paying its mana cost. If a spell cast this way, put it in a graveyard, exile it instead. Yeah, a great way to, again, basically go, hey, you got some good things in your graveyard? Okay, cool. I'm just going to pay my 3 mana, unearth this out of my graveyard, and cast 3 things for free. Thank you. Speaking of which, let's wheel. Dragon Mage, a 5/5 flyer. It's going to be able to get through on at least one opponent right without flying. When it deals combat damage to a player, each player discards their hand and draws 7 cards. A forced wheel, quite nice. Being able to dig down into our deck and get more things into our graveyard, what's not to love? Speaking of digging down, though, Rune Scarred Demon, 6/6 flying demon for 7 mana, but again, basically 3 mana. Enters the battlefield, tutor for any card, put it right into your hands. So yeah, go get the best card that you need for the situation that you're in. Finally, though, Suboral Primordial. Yeah, again, we're having fun with our graveyard. Let's have fun with our opponent's graveyards, too. 5/4 with Intimidate. When it enters the battlefield for each opponent, you may put up to 1 target creature card from that player's graveyard on the battlefield under your control. Now, all of my creatures are coming out of the graveyard. They're great, but now I get to permanently gain control of your creatures out of the graveyard. What's not to love about that? Again, Cedric's the Trader King. When it comes to commanders, sometimes, again, they were popular at one point, and they get to be a point where they're not popular anymore. And then people just forget about them. They forget that they exist. And this is an amazing one, and one that, again, has an effect, has a mechanic that we can much more easily use and abuse these days and make so much value out of it. Do some really crazy cool plays. Definitely go have fun with this one. Let's keep things rolling, though. Next up, we've got Traxos, Scourge of Krug. And I really like this art version of it, so I decided to use this one. Anyways, rank 820 with only 1,872 decks to its name. A 7/7 legendary artifact creature construct with trample that costs just 4 mana, but enters the battlefield tapped and doesn't untap during untap step. That being said, whenever you cast any historic spell, again, artifacts, legendary sagas, mostly artifacts what we're going to be casting, you untap it. So essentially, this is one where, yeah, it is a 7/7 for 4 mana. That is extremely, extremely large for that cost. And of course, 7 being a very key number in Commander because, well, that's like the original, Elder Dragon power number, which was basically the basis of Commander damage to a win at 21, 3 hits. So yeah, basically, again, it takes 3 hits with this commander to take any opponent out, and it already has trample, which is fantastic. And of course, our ways to speed that up too. This also doesn't just have to be like a Voltron-y commander. You can do some really crazy cool things with it. Again, taking advantage of a commander that can untap whenever you're casting any historic spell, again, any artifact. There are so many ways to take advantage of that and make sure that, well, we're going to be untapping this a ton, and not just for attacking, not just for like pseudo-vigilance, but for other things as well, like, well, Paradise Mantle, a 0-mana equipment that, well, does cost a little bit of money, but I wanted to put this on the list because it's so cool. For 0, it has equip 1. Equip creature has tap, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. You basically turn your commander into like a cost reducer for artifacts because you're like, okay, I tap my commander for mana. All right, I cast an artifact spell. I untap my commander. I tap my commander for mana. I do that again and again and again. Have a lot of fun with that. It's a lot of fun. Anyways, Shrine of the Forsaken Gods. Also, again, in a colorless deck, of course, you can take advantage of all of the colorless lands, all of those utility lands that, yeah, you kind of have to, like, make room for in other decks. This one's like, oh, yeah, I'll throw in some wastes, of course. Yeah, just to, have some basics in there. But hey, every single utility land I can utilize, including this amazing 9-cent one that's just extra free mana later in the game. Lovely. Taps for colors, taps for 2 colors, spends mana only cast color spells, activate only if you control 7 more lands. You'll get there. And again, you're only casting color spells anyways. Manifold Key, of course, there are other ways to untap our commander when needed, or other artifacts as well, maybe some mana rocks that tap for more than 1. That being said, well, you can also pay 3 and tap and make target creature unblockable this turn, which of course is key for this commander, being able to get it through. Speaking of which, though, Adaptive Omni Tool, yet another great card that we just got for this commander. Equipment for 2 mana, +1/+1 for each artifact you control. Whenever a creature attacks the top 6 cards of your library, here's the thing. You may fill an artifact card from one of them, put it right in your hand with the rest of our library in a random order. Basically, hey, first of all, I'm going to have a ton of artifacts in play. This is a colorless deck with a bunch of artifacts, so yeah, it's going to be pumped a ton. Maybe even turn my commander into, at the very least, a 2-shot KO. And of course, with that, now free card advantage off the top of my library. Such a good amount of value for this 86-cent card. Well, take Servant, very simple, very effective. Beginning of your end step, untap target artifact. So yeah, if you didn't get to untap your commander, now you do. Just say, okay, I swung with my commander, don't have an artifact to cast, free untap for me. Lovely, it's kind of like pseudo vigilance, or again, mana back if you are able to untap a mana rock with it instead. But of course, Fire Shrieker. Yeah, there are plenty of great ways to pump our commander and also ways to double up its effectiveness. Equip creature has double strike. Just equip for 2 mana. It's fantastic. Again, this turns our commander into a 2-shot KO already. And of course, with very little pump as well, like just a +4/+4, which of course with like Adaptive Omni tool is nothing for that. It's a 1-shot KO then. And of course, keep in mind our commander does have trample, so yeah, if you can get that power up to a decent amount, this can just take out any opponent, kind of anywhere. Honor Worn Shaku is another great card, kind of like Paradise Mantle-ish in what it does. Tap and untap legendary permanent you control to untap it, and this taps for a colorless. So yeah, again, we can basically tap our commander to untap this, to then cast an artifact, to then untap our commander, to tap our commander, to untap it. You see where that's going. Okay, a lot of tapping and untapping. Nettle Cyst, a great card for this deck as well. Living Weapon, so it can be a threat in itself because it attaches to a germ. It says ++1 for each artifact and equipment, or sorry, enchantment, I should say, you control. Artifact and equipment are the exact same thing. Anyways, this is a great way to pump our commander even further. Again, go super wide with artifacts, and you can do just that with a card like Semblance Anvil. I love this card. Enters the battlefield and may exile a null card from your hand. Spells you cast that you already type with it, or, 2 less to cast. So basically, again, you have all of these cards. You've got all of these artifacts in your deck. You get rid of one of them, all of them now are super cheap to cast. Again, like something like a Shimmer Mirror now is costing 1. Absurd. 2/2 Mirror for 3 mana. Flash it in, though, and it says you may cast artifact spells as though they had flash. This works incredibly with your commander. It's a great utility card that says, you know what? Do you want to untap your commander just whenever you want? Just whenever you're casting an artifact spell. It doesn't matter when you can do it normally, on your turn, but now it's like, oh, an opponent's turn, they're attacking me. Okay, I cast this small little artifact, and all of a sudden I untap my commander. Next up, Clock of Omens, though. Tap 2 untapped artifacts you control, untap target artifact. Yet another way to kind of like do some like mana rock shenanigans with your commander in a way. Or again, if you need to untap your commander separately, tap some artifacts, including this one, to untap your commander. Mystic Forge, oh my goodness. Just so much value off the top of our library. Artifact for 4. You may look at the top of your library anytime. You may cast artifact spells and color spells at the top of your library. Tap, pay 1 life, exile the top card of your library. Basically, future sight for colorless decks, essentially, and it's an incredible card. We'll take Construct. Pay 2 untap target artifact creature. Again, if we need to untap our commander with some mana, we can. You might actually have some combos with this too. If you want to build around that, you can do that too. Blake Moth Earn, though, no combos needed for this. Beginning of each player's pre-combat main phase. If it's untapped, the player adds colors to their mana pool for each artifact they control. Here's the thing again, we might have some things like Clock of Omens that can stop our opponents from getting mana. That being said, it doesn't really matter all that much because we're going to take the most advantage of this. We are all artifacts, we are all mana, do some crazy things, cast a ton of things, and swing through and dominate your opponents with this amazing commander, again, that has so many different ways that you can build around it, so many things that you can take advantage that you might not realize. And yeah, just a great low-to-the-ground commander that you can just start smacking your opponents with super quickly to take them out in absolutely no time. This is a gem, and some really cool art on it too. And the other original version's cool art too. But yeah, anyways, pick it up, build around it right now. Up next on the list at rank 818 with 1,877 decks to its name, Phylath World Sculptor. 5/5 Elemental for 6 mana in Gruul. Enters the battlefield, create a 0/1 green plant creature token for each basic land you control. On top of that, whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you get 4 counters on target plant you control. This is kind of like having an Avenger of Zendikar in the command zone. Like, it just kind of is. It's an amazing card that essentially says, you know what? We're going to take advantage of just a great thing in Magic that many people forget just how great they are. Basic lands. Basic lands. Literally, like, this commander incentivizes you to build with mostly basics. You don't have to build all basics. I'll talk about some cards that you might not need as basics, but still, it is an absolutely incredible commander that says, you know what, let's go super wide, super quickly with a lot of plants. And then, of course, instead of like Avenger of Zendikar that like builds up all those plants, you just build up specific plants incredibly large. Again, any plant just saying, you know what, hey, plant, 4 counters. Every single land, you can turn one plant into the largest creature on the board, literally just by playing, say, like an Evolving Wilds, cracking it, and be like, oh, okay, 2 landfall triggers. All right, 8 counters. All right, biggest threat in the board from a 0-1 plant now is an 8-9. Good luck, opponents. So again, cards like Cabaret Courtyard are great lands for this deck as well. Enters the battlefield, immediately sacrifice it, go get a basic mountain or forest. Plains as well, I guess, but not for this deck. Put it on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle your library, and you gain 1 life. So again, being able to, again, use and abuse that landfall effect, that's absolutely huge, while also keeping your basic number of lands to an absurd amount in play. Again, you're not looking to, like, keep a lot of other types of lands in play outside of basics. That being said, of course, we can also utilize our commander's ETB in other ways, like Curse Mirror. I love this card. Artifact for 3, taps for a red. So it can just be a good mana rock for us if we need it. I mean, slow, yes, but like, hey, it's a mana rock. That being said, as it enters the battlefield, it may have become a copy of any creature on the battlefield except it has haste. So basically, we can actually clone anything with it temporarily, so we're getting a flexible mana rock in that way. That being said, with this commander, we might just use it as a 3-mana way to get that ETB again from our commander, because we can have this become a copy of our commander. Legend will apply, sure, we lose it, that's fine, but we still get that ETB, meaning, again, we get a 0-1 plant for every single basic we control. It goes super wide. Also, though, when it comes to making those plants go tall, cards like Kazul's Fury are amazing and fling type effects. Sacrifice a creature, deals damage, equal to sacrifice creature's power to any target. Again, every single land is basically 4 damage for this, just going, okay, four, you know, here we go, 4 counters on that creature, 4 more counters on that creature, 4 more on that creature. Okay, it's got 20 power. I swing with it, hit an opponent, I sacrifice it, I hit an opponent again. They're gone. It's a great way to take players out. Reincarnation, there's not too many ways to actually kind of utilize our commander's ETB outside of those Twin Flame types, but yeah, this is actually one of them. It actually kind of works with the Twin Flame way in a weird way too. Instant for 3 mana in green. Choose target creature. When it dies, return a creature card from its owner's graveyard to the battlefield under the control of that creature's owner. Yeah, a weird kind of like Feign Deathy type effect in green. So yeah, if your commander's gonna die, bring it right back and get that ETB. Shared Animosity, a super easy way to have the most powerful army on the board. Whenever a creature you control attacks, gets +1/+0 until end of turn for each other attacking creature that shares a creature type with it. Yeah, you swing with your plants, now all of a sudden they just have an absurd amount of power. Again, if you've got a way to grant trample, if you've got a way to get them through, good luck, opponents. Topiary Stomper, though, keep in mind things that actually are plants, like, you know, this plant dinosaur, which is definitely a thing. 4/4 plant dinosaur for 3 mana in green. Vigilance, when it enters the battlefield, search life for a basic land card, put on the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Can't attack or block unless you control 7 more lands. You're going to get there on the land. So again, this one literally gives you a landfall trigger, which is great. It ramps you too. It's a threat. Again, getting a lot of counters on it is lovely because it has vigilance. You're like, okay, I swing for 20 and I have a 20/20 blocker. Great, good for me. Good luck getting through. How about Witty Roastmaster, though? This Impact Tremors type cards are amazing. Perforos as well. Very expensive. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, 1 damage to each opponent. So again, even if you aren't getting those plants through, again, you've got your ETB, getting a bunch of plants. Let's say you make 10. Okay, cool. All right, 10 damage to all my opponents. Lovely. That's a ton of damage. And again, if we've got ways to utilize that ETB further, it's going to be quite fun, like Flame Shadow Conjuring. Already brought this one up again really quick, though. Pay that single red mana, make an extra copy. Again, being able to utilize our commander's ETB a second time can be absolutely huge. Speaking of which, yes, outside of my $2 range, but barely. Panharmonic on it, $3. Artifact for 4. Artifact your creature entering the battlefield causes an ETB. Basically, that doubles up. So yeah, again, say, hey, I'd like twice as many lands. Thank you. Unfortunately, keep in mind, unlike Yarok, this does not double up landfall triggers, basically, land triggers as well. Greater good, though. Again, take advantage of that power in a different way. Again, you're giving those plants an absurd amount of power quickly. Say, you know what? Actually, I'd like to draw some more cards. Sacrifice any creature, draw cards equal to its power, then discard 3 cards. Ironically, also works with that reincarnation card that I talked about earlier, too. So there you go. There's a way to do it. Rampant Rejuvenator, though. This might be just one of the best cards in the deck. This one is $4 or so. Just want to highlight, though, because it is so good with this commander. It's like made for this commander. It's a plant Hydra. Keep in mind, a plant. 0/0 that costs 4 mana. And there's battlefield 2 counters on it. When it dies, search life for X basic land cards where X is its power, then put them on the battlefield, then shuffle. Literally, again, this is a just ticking time bomb of every single one of your basic lands in the deck into play, basically. Again, every single time you get a land to play, that's 4 counters on it, which is 4 more lands you're going to get when it's taken out. You do another one, and another one, another one. Again, literally at a certain point, you're like, okay, when this dies, which maybe I've got a way to get rid of it myself, all of a sudden I'm like, okay, cool. I get every single land in my deck in play. Landfall, yay! And also, again, when your commander comes back into play, so many plants, like 30 plus plants. Conjurer's Closet, again, a free blink at the end of the turn. What's not to love about that with a commander that has, again, an ETB that you want to use and abuse? Overwhelming Stampede, again, take advantage of that power that you're giving to one of your plants. Until end of turn, all your creatures get trampled, get +X for XC Grace power among all your creatures. Pump your entire team to oblivion and wipe out your opponents. Perilous Forays, a really fun combination with this kind of a commander. Pay 1, sacrifice a creature, go get a land with a basic land type on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Basically, sacrifice your tiny plants to get your, plants that you're building up in power, even more power, and of course, build up your board with more and more and more lands. So the next time you play your commander, or the next time your commander's ETB happens, yeah, you are just absolutely making a massive army that cannot be stopped. Rishkar's Expertise, you had another way to take advantage of power as well. Draw cards to either the greatest power among creatures you control. A couple different ways to do this as well, like Garrick as well. You may cast a spell mana value 5 less your hand without paying its mana cost, which is quite nice. Unfortunately for you, Boundless Realms isn't that kind of a card, but there's plenty of great ones though. But Boundless Realms, a crazy good card with this commander. Go get X basic land cards or X the number of lands you control, put them on battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Again, the vast majority of lands in your deck should be basic with this commander. Go basically double up your mana and double up your lands. Get all those landfall triggers. Again, let's just say you have 7 in play. That's, 28 counters on something? That can just be game ending. Phylath World Sculptor is so much fun. Again, it's one of those forgotten cards because, like, in the 99, players typically prefer, Avenger of Zendikar can also fit in more decks too. But that being said, as a commander, there's so many cool ways to utilize this and take advantage of it and do some really crazy things. Make sure you check it out. Continuing on, we've got rank 817 with Vraska the Silencer. 1,884 decks to this one, and my goodness, is this an incredible heavy hitter. A 3/3 Gorgon Assassin for just 3 mana in Golgari. Death Touch. Whenever a non-token creature an opponent controls dies, you may pay 1. If you do, return that card to the battlefield tapped under your control. It's a treasure artifact with tap, sacrifice this artifact, add 1 mana of any color, and loses all other card types. Now, here's the thing. It's lovely that you do get to basically temporarily ramp by kind of investing mana into your opponent's creatures dying and getting basically treasures out of them. But the fact that it actually turns your opponent's creatures into treasures that you can utilize is huge. And some players out there might not realize that. Some creatures are actually better not as creatures. Kind of like Miracle Lord of Bones basically turn them into enchantments. Having certain creatures become just basically something that sits in play and can avoid like Wrath of God style board wipes is massive. So yeah, being able to just say, oh, okay, opponent's creatures get taken out. I pay a little bit of mana, and all of a sudden, I get an army of treasures that also maybe have some activated abilities, maybe have some triggers. I can get so much value out of this. And yes, if you need to utilize them as treasures for mana, you can, and there's definitely some great ways to do so and great ways to take advantage of that. That being said, there's ways to take advantage of this with cards like, Carpet of Flowers even, just around $2 for this gem. Gem for a single green mana. At the beginning of each of your main phases, if you haven't added mana with this ability this turn, you may add X mana of any one color, X the number of islands target opponent controls. Basically, a way to say, oh, I'm playing against a blue player? Okay, free mana for me. By utilizing that free mana, again, you can use it to get things out, but of course, if you've got an edict effect, you can actually, again, say, oh, okay, let's use an edict effect here. Let's utilize the mana I'm getting from this, which can be substantial, of course, to actually activate that ability when those creatures die. So yeah, edict effect, again, being like, opponents, sacrifice some creatures, cool. So yeah, like Innocent Blood, an amazing card. Sorcery is a single black mana. Every player sacrifices a creature. Obviously, you want some creature fodder out when you do this, but that being said, yeah, being able to just pay 1 mana, make your opponent sacrifice 3 creatures, essentially in total, and you pay 3 mana in total to say, oh, now those creatures are mine, but as treasures, kind of. That's absolutely huge. Thran Turbine, though, another way to get mana in a weird way. Artifact for a single mana. During your upkeep, you may add 2 colorless mana to your mana pool. Can't be spent to play spells, but again, can be utilized for, effects and abilities and triggers like, Vraska. Being able to pay that 2 mana, again, by saying, oh, okay, let's instant speed, and I'll get to them here in a little bit. There are instant speed edict effects, instant speed removal spells, obviously, where you can utilize them to say, oh, okay, your creatures died. Awesome, I'll use this mana to, make them into treasures. Accursed Marauder, though, a great creature out there. A 2/1 zombie warrior for 2 mana. Enters the battlefield, basically edicts. Every player sacrifices a non-token creature. And of course, you're going to be sacrificing this one most likely. And yes, you can utilize the ETB quite a bit throughout the game in different ways. Shieldred's Edict, though. It even has the word Edict in there. There you go. Instant speed for 2 mana. Choose one. Every opponent sacrifice a non-token creature, or a creature token, or a planeswalker. Again, with this kind of a commander, most of the time you're going to be like, non-token creature, please. Thank you. Agent of the Iron Throne. Commander creatures you own have. Whenever an artifact or creature you control is put in a grave from the battlefield, each opponent is drained 1. They lose 1 life. So, yeah, I mean, whenever your creatures are getting taken out, maybe by some of your edict effects, or of course, when you sacrifice those treasure creature things, I mean, treasure non-creature, stolen opponents things, you know what I mean? All of a sudden, you are draining your opponents by doing that. Inspiring Statuary. Utilize those treasures in a different way. Non-artifact spells you cast have improvised. Your artifacts can tap basically for mana for them. So being able to say, you know what? All my non-artifact spells now are just cheaper because I can utilize those treasures basically as mana rocks that stick around. Soul Shatter, though, another great edict. There's so many great edicts and instant speed ones, too, to utilize. Soul Shatter is a fantastic one. 3 mana. Each one sacrifice a creature or planeswalker with the highest mana value among creatures and planeswalkers they control. Being able to just say, okay, 3 mana, goodbye, all my biggest problems in play. And by the way, those are now my, well, not problems, but creatures, essentially, that become treasures, and then I can utilize them. Again, utilize whatever abilities they have, whatever triggers they have. Have fun with that. Frontier Siege, yet another great way at 4 mana to say, you know what? Let's just build up a bunch of mana. Enters the battlefield, choose cons or dragons. In this case, we're choosing cons. Beginning of each of your main phases, add green, green. Basically, 4 free mana on every single one of your turns. Again, utilize an edict effect, steal some creatures, this mana. It's great. Black Market, though, again, I already mentioned this one earlier. Yeah, lots of creatures going to be taken out, and a lot of free mana to be had on your pre-combat main phase from this. Death Pits of Wrath. This card is so much fun. For you, enchantment for 5 mana in black. Whenever a creature is dealt damage, destroy it. It can't be regenerated. Again, basically gives everything Death Touch in a way, so, and subs regeneration too, which is fun. But yeah, it makes it so that, hey, even though I'm not affecting everything, creatures are going to be dying here, there, and everywhere because every combat is a death match. Horizon Stone, yet another great way to just store up some mana. If you lose unspent mana, it becomes colorless instead. So being able to say, you know what, I don't have anything to do with the mana right now. I'm not taking out my opponent's creatures. Let's just store up my excess mana. Yeah, and then all of a sudden, yeah, I can utilize it again on my turn. And I utilize it again whenever I have those edict effects happen. Marionette Master, drain your opponents in absolutely no time. Fabricate 3, basically get 3 counters on this. Whenever an artifact you control is put in a grave from the battlefield, target opponent loses life equal to this creature's power. Being able to drain your opponents, again, 4 basically, for each time an artifact is put in the graveyard, including, of course, your treasure stolen creature things. It's going to take no time at all. Finally, though, Demonic Junker, Affinity for Artifacts. This is going to cost you just basically a single mana to get in play. Whenever it enters, again, destroy up to 1 target creature each player controls. That's not you. Great. Do so, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay, first of all, I get some counters on this, which is nice. That being said, again, just pay 1 mana for each of those creatures to basically steal them and turn them into treasures for yourself. Again, Vraska the Silencer, a super effective, super potent commander that has so much potential. And again, some players out there might not realize the potential of it because your opponent's best creatures might become your best creatures, again, with their effects and their abilities. It's not just making treasures, it's utilizing their effectiveness. So yeah, a great commander, rank 817, go pick it up and build around it right now. Time to shift gears, though, with rank 816, 1,887 decks to its name, Iroas, God of Victory. Oh my goodness, this is such a fun commander. The gods are really fun because, well, they're not always creatures. They are enchantments, and they're indestructible. They're super hard to deal with. They are really hard to deal with. It's kind of like having like an enchantment in your command zone that just gives you a really cool effect, and you kind of don't have to worry about it getting taken out. Very rarely. But yeah, being able to say, oh, okay, I get in play, I do my thing, that's great. And of course, when it does become a creature, it can also be a very potent attacker. It's a 7/4 god with indestructible, costing 4 mana in Boros. And your devotion to red and white is less than 7. It's not a creature. Again, sometimes you don't want to be a creature, sometimes you do. Creatures you control can't be blocked except by 2 or more creatures. Again, menace. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to attacking creatures you control. So yeah, being able to be incredibly aggressive in combat, that's exactly what this commander wants you to do. Swing out, get creatures through. And you can do so again with some creatures that normally wouldn't just be able to freely swing out without a plan. So like Arabelle Abandoned Doll, again, a super tiny 1/3 toy that costs 2 mana. And again, if you built a deck around this one, you need ways to get it through. With this commander, no, you don't. You just go, okay, I swing. And why do you want to swing? I want to get that trigger. Whenever it attacks, It deals X damage to each opponent, and you gain X life for X the number of creatures your opponents control power 2 or less. So much fun being able to say, okay, I get a bunch of tiny creatures out that maybe have some attack triggers, swing with this, and just hit my opponents for a ton and gain a ton of life. But also when it comes to like, okay, I can freely swing with creatures, that's great. Take advantage of, again, prevent all damage to be dealt to attacking creatures you control. That includes any kind of damage. It doesn't just have to be in combat. Again, so I'm swinging, my creatures are attacking, and then I cast, say, Magma Quake. Yeah. Instant speed for X red, X damage to each creature without flying in each planeswalker. Basically, you can turn these instant speed damage spells into one-sided board wipes because your army is fine, and your opponent's army's not fine. Maybe their flyers are, but not when you use Starstorm. X damage to every single creature on the board. You can also cycle away for 3 if you need to, but yeah, being able to say, okay, put enough mana into this to take out my opponent's biggest creatures. My creatures are fine because I cast it during my combat while I was attacking, and now my creatures are just swinging through, and they're not getting blocked either. So yeah, one-sided board wipes that are also like, my creatures are unblockable. Good for me. You also have Adeline Resplendent Cathar. Again, a lot of amazing attack triggers that you don't have to feel like you're overcommitting to, essentially, right? Star 4, Vigilance, Human Knight, powers equal to the number of creatures you control. Whenever you attack for each opponent, make a 1/1 human that's tapped at attacking. Again, with a commander like this, when it's built around, it's great. It's a lot of fun. But there's going to be times where, okay, I'm swinging, and I know I'm going to be losing some of those tokens, right? They're going to be swinging right to danger. With this in the 99 of an Herois deck, you're like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, they're all attacking. They're going to take no damage. I get to keep those tokens. Those tokens are going to be safe in combat, which makes a card like Goblin Assault awesome as well. Beginning of your upkeep, you make a 1/1 Goblin. Also, you have to attack with all your Goblins. That's good for this deck. Again, you're always going to be attacking, and you don't have to worry about them getting taken out thanks to your commander. Hanwar Garrison, another great one, though. Whenever it attacks, you get 2 1/1 humans that are tapped at attacking. Again, it's riskier to swing with this without this commander, essentially, right? A 2/3 can take it out in combat. Also, those 1/1s might get taken out, too. But with this commander, it's like, oh, I just get to keep making, 2 more creatures every single turn just by attacking. Lovely. Legion War Boss, kind of like Goblin Assault in a way. It's got Mentor. It says, at the beginning of combat, your turn, you make a 1/1, gains haste, has to attack. Cool. We love that. We love that a lot. Paladin Elizabeth Taggarty. 3/2 that says, whenever it and at least 2 other creatures attack, draw a card, put a creature card mana value X less for your hand on the battlefield, tap that attack, and where X is Paladin Elizabeth's strategic power. Being able to essentially say, you know what, free draw on attack because I'm going to be attacking with plenty of creatures, I'm going to be aggressive, and also cheat in some creatures into play. What's not to love about that? Hero Blade Hold, multiple attack triggers with this one. Battle Cry, again, it pumps our attacking creatures +1 with 0. That's lovely. On top of that, whenever it attacks, you make 2 1/1s, tap and attacking again, that you now just get to keep in play. Assemble Legion. Build a ton of creatures, again, with haste. Every single turn, you get extra counter on this. Then you make that many 1/1s with haste. Swing out now. You can swing out every single time. You're like, okay, more creatures. Swing out. Next turn, even more creatures. Swing out. You can be so aggressive. One of my favorite recent cards, though, Show-Stopping Surprise. In my opinion, an underrated card. Basically, Chandra's Ignition, minus damage to opponents, but at instant speed. This card is insane with this commander. Instant for 5 mana in red. Again, instant speed. Choose target creature control, then turn it face up if it's face down. Don't care about that. Ignore that. That's why this card is not popular. That's why people just like, they look at that and they're like, oh, well, I don't have any face down creatures. I don't have any morph creatures. Why would I play that? Who cares? I mean, it's only a positive to have that thing. Like if someone Ixodrons, you can flip something. Cool. What matters is it deals damage equal to its power to each other creature. Again, that's all you care about. Instant speed. My creature deals damage equal to its power to each other creature. Again, instant speed. So, okay, I swing. If my commander's active, which it will be at some point, cool. 7 damage to every single creature in play. That's going to be enough to take out probably all of your opponent's creatures, and yours are fine again because your commander prevents that damage. Also, let's talk about some split cards, though. Response Resurgence. Great. Resurgence especially. Get extra combat, basically First Strike and Vigilance for creatures, too. Yeah, lovely. Again, extra combats are obviously huge with this. You want to be aggressive. Also, Gallifrey Falls and no more. 4 damage to each creature. If a creature dealt damage this way would die, this turn exile instead. A great instant speed way to wipe out a lot of your opponent's creatures and permanently get rid of them. No more. Any number of target creatures you control phase out. A great way to protect your things, too. So yeah, Iroas got a victory, though. A great commander that lets you, again, take advantage of the downsides, essentially, of combat. When it comes to, okay, sometimes I don't want to be too aggressive. No. Be super aggressive. Swing out, get through on opponents, and also don't worry about damage. Your creatures are fine. Swing with all those attack triggers. Swing with all those damage triggers. And then also say, okay, I can take advantage of some instant speed ways to wipe out your armies as well. I love this commander. Build around it right now. So, now that you've seen this episode, of course, you are convinced that these commanders need to be built around, and right now, you're going to go and do just that, aren't you? I mean, Massacre Girl is absolutely incredible. Such a fun commander to build around. Vraska, so incredibly impactful, so much potential. Those edict effects turning your opponent's creatures into your own artifact, treasure token, fun things, you know? I mean, not treasure tokens, but they're just fun kind of like copies of them, essentially, that actually can be even better than the creatures themselves. Cedric the Trader King, steal your, well, creatures out of your own graveyard now for a lot cheaper, essentially, right? Just steal on that amount of mana value, essentially just 3 mana or even less with some effects to get them right out. Viola, take advantage of the most powerful thing in Magic, basic lands, and take your opponents out with some giant plants and some giant plant effects that can be really fun. Traxos, smack your opponents with a giant robot. Who doesn't want to do that? And of course, take advantage of that untapping too. And of course, Iroas, just swing. Get things out and swing some more, and then also swing, and then, yeah, maybe cast an instant speed damage-based board wipe to one-sided board wipe your opponents and take them out. Again, a lot of fun hidden gem commanders that are, well, again, either lost or forgotten, and you need to resurrect them, build around them, and say, hey, opponents, get ready for this one. And with that, this episode is coming to a close. Comment below with your thoughts on it, and of course, as always, thanks again, and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.